Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu wa alhamdulillah rabbil alameen. Y'all already know what it is. A late night session, but it's still geared towards we mixing it. So it's still a little something for the new Shahada, right? So this is part of the new Shahada class, but I'm also mixing it in with our late night session. Alhamdulillah. And then also I'm mixing it because it's definitely for the new Shahada, but it's something that we're studying, taking a real class on. Alright, okay, I'm gonna give him a minute. Okay. My man Sheeds, man, told me don't be sneak dissing him in this video. he said every time he go back and listen to my videos, he noticed that I be sneak dissing him. Which I don't. He feels some type of way because I said just because you talk to Allah while you brush your teeth don't mean that you're knowledgeable, because that was a conversation me and him was having. But that's funny you brought that up, because a brother called me yesterday. I don't even remember which video I said it in, but a brother called me yesterday. I'm talking about early, like it was like right, like as soon as I got done with Fajr, talking about he never claimed to be the most knowledgeable or something. Yeah, somebody else who thought I was talking about them, which I was talking about Sheeds, but I wasn't sneak dissing them. You know what I'm saying? While we got a minute, I'm gonna get into that. I'm gonna let the people know what's going on. But alhamdulillah, man, if everybody feel like I'm talking to them personally, then I'm doing a good job. You know what I'm saying? Don't correct me, correct yourself if you feel like it applied to you. Now, if you feel like it don't apply to you, then why are you addressing me? Like, why are you defending yourself? You know what I'm saying? So anyway, it's a class that we're doing. It's because I know it in Arabic, but it's basically about defying the path of the people of the hellfire. Avoiding the path for the people of the hellfire. So I'm mixing those lessons in with this because as a new Shahada, if you learn these things early on, you'll be able to avoid these same pitfalls, right? So, and I could throw in this tad bit. In the beginning, what Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, now, in the beginning, see, a lot of us, Islam to us is the 5 pillars. Shahada, right? Salat, fasting, zakat, and hajj. As long as you on those 5 pillars, at least one of them, if you praying and fasting, you deen it. But there was no salat for the first 11 and a half years of the deen. Alright? And then everything else came after that. Okay? So when you factor that in, what was the Rasul teaching? Now, of course, it was Aqidah. Right? But it was more than Aqidah, because a lot of us think Aqidah is just 5, 6, or 7 little branches, with Tawheed being the first branch of Aqidah. So that's why some people would say he was teaching Aqidah for 13 years. I mean, some would say Aqidah for 13 years, and some would say Tawheed for the first 13 years. But Tawheed is the first branch of Aqidah. Okay? So if you teaching Tawheed, you teaching Aqidah. But within there, what we forget is there's laws, right? Legislations. There's how you deal with your family. There's business transactions. And I done did videos. This stuff is in my fiqh videos, right? How you do your categories of fiqh. So there was business transactions. He was teaching the people how to do business transactions, how to deal with family, how to deal with the brothers. You know, family include marriage, all of that. So not to make it too lengthy, one of the main things that he was teaching the people though was what? Come on, Sheeds. Since me and you got all this beef, She's be harboring too, man. She's be harboring a little something in his heart, man. Some little ill towards me. Come on, Sheeds. Nah, Asant. How to be opposite of the disbelievers. How to not fall into what the people fell into before Islam came, and why their religion, why their deen is completely destroyed. That was one of the. So if you look in, if when you start to learn your Quran, and you know the new Shahada is not in the late night sessions, but they're gonna watch this video. So some of y'all who been texting me, man, y'all doing a good job, man, with keeping up with y'all Quran, reading y'all 4 pages. Some brothers doing 5, you know what I'm saying? After every salat, they doing an excellent job, man. I'm proud of them, like no cap, I'm proud of them. So we're mixing that in. So and this is gonna be beautiful, man, when we tie that in. The way I got this blended, so it's gonna be beneficial for us, cause we got class tomorrow. So. And we'll probably do a recap of the class, but we got class in the morning. You know, which I'm going to be grocery shopping again. Alhamdulillah, but inshallah. So anyway, I don't want to get too far ahead. We got a couple of brothers, man, who getting some things in order. So while we waiting for them to come in, let me, I can say your name, Sheeds. So She's right. She's real name is Africa. Like on his birth certificate, She's real name is Africa. So me and She's got an interesting history. Me and she's from the west side of Chicago, right? So me and She's met on the south side of Chicago. He used to come to the south side with I used to be with my cousins now. You know what I'm saying? So, Africa. So, we you know, we seen each other a few times, and then sometimes Africa even came down to the city I'm in now when we was younger, man. We was pushing like, I don't know, man, 16, 17 when we met. So it was funny. So we didn't see each other for years. So when I was going to college, it was dude, he was related to Lupe Fiasco. He was Lupe Fiasco's cousin. He actually used to do beats for him. Well, he had got into a little situation with their nation, right? What they was, you know. So he ended up in a little college town with some family members because his nation wanted to touch him up a little bit. And they was going to give him what we call a pumpkin head. So anyway, he get into a situation down there in a little college town, and who do he bring down there? Africa. And me and Africa probably hadn't seen each other, man, and like since we was kids. And we both was Muslim, so, you know, we've been locked in pretty much so-and-so ever since then. So, you know, because Africa, with she's brother Rashid, she's used to be what we refer to as to the bone. I'm gonna refer to it as that. He used to be what we call to the bone. So his Islam has a lot of that in it. So like a lot of times when we be having late night discussions, it be me and Sheeds, because we be trying to get Sheeds to understand you need to quit trying to teach. Because when we come across some of the people, and you know what I'm saying, not mainly always me because I'm not where they at, and so I get the calls, or you know, some of the brothers who are in the group with us. Two of them in Chicago right now. She's and another brother. So it's some brothers that's in the joint that's in Chicago, right? So the young brothers, they'll be saying some way out stuff, and we'd be like, man, who told you that? Like, where'd you hear that? And lo and behold, it's always Sheeds. But you know, she's did a lengthy vacation, so she's got a lot of that to the bone and to the little things he picked up from his vacation. And the thing is, because he come from that culture where he was to the bone, he got a knack for grooming the young individuals, like trying to take them under his wing on the leadership. So he's still trying to move like that, but he need to quit teaching. So when I be saying stuff about this and that don't make you knowledgeable, like quit trying to round up little groups and trying to be some type of teacher or whatever, and do little slick stuff like call one of us to try to get answers, and you know the little stuff he be saying. Like, I mean, he in classes, you know, with us. He in this class, so he do little stuff with us, but he still got more of that stuff in him. So that's why he said I be sneak dissing him in the videos. But it'd be funny because it's like 3-4 other people. They will say wallahi that I be talking to them too. But she's right here, so me and Sheeds know we talking to each other. You know what I'm saying? So that's just a little funny thing about me and Sheeds while I'm waiting for the brothers, man. So for the other people, if I'm saying stuff like, because you brushing, you think you know, because you talking to Allah when you brush your teeth, if you don't talk to Allah while you brushing your teeth, why would you feel like I'm talking about you? Secondly, and then like I had to say to Sheeds, you're not the only person that talk to Allah all the time. A lot of Muslims, most of the Muslims wake up talking to Allah. A lot of the Muslims walk through their house talking to Allah. Sheeds, you're not the only person that talk to Allah. You're not the only Muslim that love Allah a whole lot. You know what I'm saying? Like she's feel like he hold the crown for the person who don't nobody love Allah more than him. Alhamdulillah. All right. We waiting on 2 more people, y'all. I'm glad I said that, because I thought I went to a Jumu'ah service here today. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've been waiting for the Khatib to come back, and he made it back this Friday. So I went to the Jumu'ah service, right, to check him out. And you know, me and him we got a long history. So you know, I always sit in the back of the masjid. I'm gonna address it. She'd ask me why I say he be harboring. Like, let it go. But I'm gonna tell you exactly why you be harboring. You got larceny in your heart for your boy. So me and the Khatib, we got history. Like, good history. So I always sit in the back in the very corner. So like when he give cook bars, the way he be going in, I be in the back cracking up. Like, I don't be super loud, but I might have to lean over. I might cover my face, my mouth like this. So he be seeing me when I be laughing. But he know, like, when I'm laughing, he know he really going in. You know what I'm saying? But dude said a couple of beautiful things, man. Dude was like, and you know, the dude to his English, sometimes you have to have some understanding of the rulings and thing he talking about, so that you will know exactly what he's trying to say. So sometimes it don't come off as clear in English because of his English. So like he'll say it in Arabic clear, and then when he try to repeat it in English, it's not as clear as you won't get the full understanding of it if you're not familiar with what he's talking about. So he was referring to how with our hearts, the hearts of the Muslims, basically he referring to how the hearts of the Muslims is getting sick. You know what I'm saying? So he was like, we need to start working on our hearts because Allah basically gonna replace us with some other people. You know what I'm saying? But being that we know, and see, I know what he's referring to, and being that there's no more prophets, there's no more religions that's going to come back down. You know what I'm saying? So the replacement isn't going to be religiously. You know what I'm saying? But like the deeds and the rewards, this dunya wise that the Muslims should be getting, like we basically going to end up under the oppression of the kuffar instead of us running it like the way the Rasul and them did, and the cities and society be just under Muslim rule, not this harsh stuff like what they think. See, they fear Sharia law because people ain't gonna be able to get drunk and high all the time. All these nightclubs where people catching, all the crazy stuff that's going on in nightclubs where people, two people bump into each other at a nightclub. They both drunk, they both intoxicated on pills, whatever. They go home and have sex, don't even know each other, barely know each other's name, and she gets pregnant. Now they got to deal with having a baby and they don't even know each other. So like these babies they wasn't born out of love. It wasn't like two people who loved each other and had a baby born out of love. So now this baby is getting taught two different worlds. Getting pulled this direction, pulled that direction. And then the mother don't like the dude, and then they had different things. So the baby getting taught certain things. But this stuff is happening in nightclubs, parties, So instead of the Muslims being in control and running a society, we're going to be under the rule of the kuffar. That's how we're going to be replaced. So now if you look worldwide, and they even starting to take some Muslim, I ain't going to say Muslim, well, I ain't going to say Islamic countries, some Muslim countries that's heavily populated Muslims, they starting to take some of their areas from them. You know what I'm saying? So the replacement is already in effect. So, but like, I get what he's saying though. We do need to work on our heart because the only way to change those circumstances, we got to get right with Allah. You understand? Okay, alhamdulillah. So, well, I love when he spoke on that. And then he said that, alhamdulillah, Allah musta'an, Allah musta'an, Allah musta'an. What did he say? He said that, subhanallah azim, mashallah, tabaraka Allah. He said that, hold on, you know what? I wrote it down. I'm glad I thought that. Allah musta'an. What did he say? He said the Muslims, I wrote it down too, because I didn't want to forget it, man. I wrote it in my notebook when I left the cook bar. Yeah, this what he said. He was like, all of the Muslims, we want Jannah, right? He said, we want Jannah, but we don't do the deeds, right? We don't do the deeds to get Jannah. We don't do enough. And then he said, we don't even do enough deeds to be Muslim. He said we don't even do enough deeds to be Muslim. So basically what he's referring to is keeping your Shahada valid. Staying within the folds of Islam. And he was like, Muslim is something that you have to be, not what you call yourself. And I was in the back like, I was rolling. He had me cracking up, man, because he was on point. You know what I'm saying? He was on point. He even threw a little dart at me, but I ain't going to get into that. So, like, and before we get in the lesson, because everybody in, one more person? Okay, alhamdulillah. So, this is why I say these, man, that you be harboring. So like sometimes when we be talking about something, right? I do a lot of stuff from the Salif. If you don't study the Salif, then you won't know it. And like I don't always point it out. So like one thing from the Salif, when they would travel to people who had knowledge and this and that, this would be one thing they would do. They would go to where these people was, and they would go to their masjid, and they would watch how they pray. And then sometimes they would pray with them, right? And if they prayed a certain way, they wouldn't take knowledge from them. So like these be doing stuff like this. Because we was having a conversation one time, we was together, we was out the way. So we was together, so just like I inform a lot of other people, we wasn't sure what was to the masjid. So I'm like, let's go in here and peep, let's see how they pray before, if we gonna stick around and do this and that. This is from the Salaf. Some people might not like it, but this is what some of the Salaf used to do, right? So I'm like, let's go peep them out. And I do this all the time. When I'm finna go to a masjid and I don't really know what's to the people and how they act, I'm gonna watch how they pray. So we was doing something, and I was like, I had said something to Deez because he wasn't paying attention. But Deez think he the coldest thing on earth when it comes to being observant. So when I was pointing something out to him, he gonna say to me, well, I don't be looking around to see what other people this and that. But you knew we was going in there to do it. But see, that was that harboring. You know what I'm saying? That larceny. But this is something that the Salaf used to do, and I was pointing something out to him. We both supposed to be people in the scene. But anyway, you be harboring, man. D's got that larceny in his heart. Now, like I done had this conversation, like I done been to a few places, and that's what I say. Hold on, man, before we go up in here, this and that. And some people, like 3-4 people, I done actually showed them the dalil. So, so that they have somewhat of an understanding, because, like I say, some people who don't study that and they not aware of it, and especially if they harboring, well, I don't be into that. So anyway, alhamdulillah, man. My apologies for taking up that much time waiting on the brothers. So now that everybody in there, and this ain't no shot at you, Deeds, let me make this clear. And this ain't no shot at anybody else who gonna feel like I'm talking to them. So we're gonna start with some Quran ayahs. And for y'all new Shahadas, this is very important. Very important. And if you can stick to these principles, right? If you can stick to these principles, you will be fine. So like when I'm finna say this right here, and this ain't no shot at D's or anybody else who feel like they talk to Allah more than any other Muslims on earth, and it can only be a comment to them. So look, alhamdulillah, bismillah. So one thing with the Muslims, we love to talk to Allah. We always talking to Allah. When we wake up, when we go to bed, when we go outside, when we go to the bathroom, when we go to the grocery store, especially me, the du'as when you going into the marketplace of any sort, whether it's groceries, any type of marketplace, you got to make your du'as before you go in there. The legislated, recommended du'a, not just like a bismillah or whatever I know to say, right? The legislated du'a that's meant for when you're going in the marketplace, right? So look, we love to talk to Allah, and that make us the best thing since sliced bread. So for the new Muslims, this is where, so now we want to reverse that. Instead of talking to Allah so much, learn to listen. Learn to listen to Allah. Alright? Learn to listen to Allah. That don't mean don't make your du'as. You're going to be the best thing since sliced bread when you learn how to listen to Allah. You understand? not hearing what he say, but following and obeying. This is a principle. What did anybody that was a prophet, what did they have to do? They had to listen to Allah Azza wa Jal attentively, because they had to pass the message on. One way to remember the message is by having it and putting it into practice. So sometimes individuals, and I'm not trying to say this in a harsh manner, but sometimes we need to shut up and learn how to listen, because maybe we talking too much, and because we talking so much to Allah Azza wa Jal, Shaitan is tricking us to make us feel like we favored, but then we not listening to what Allah Azza wa Jal is telling us. And I'm finna give you some dalil. So as a new Shahada, you learn this principle early, you'll get to taste the sweetness of the deen, bi-idhni Allah Ta'ala. So surah number 9, ayah number 119. O you who believe, be amongst the truthful. Alright? This is whether they Muslim, whether they non-Muslim. Now why is that a very important principle? How many Muslims do you know that's around Muslims that's corrupt? We're not talking about just that they tell the truth, but sometimes they lie in their actions. How can you be a Muslim that lie in their action? Be at the club drunk? You's a liar. You know what I'm saying? Running around here acting a fool, gang banging, getting high, getting drunk, fornicating, male, female. You not truthful. You disobeying Allah Azza wa Jal. So sometimes we be around Muslims that do horrible things, and then the worst of us, I don't care what we think of ourselves, the worst of us don't care what they do. Don't say nothing to them. Don't put me on. Let me fall into what they doing. Although that let me go against the deen, I go against the deen there, because a Muslim is supposed to protect their Muslim brother and that Muslim sister from harm. Oh, well, I'm good. I'm strong enough. My deen this and that. I'm on point. I ain't a fool. I see everything. But you know what? You're not listening to Allah Azza wa Jal when Allah Azza wa Jal say what? Oh, you who believe, be amongst the truthful. So some of your friends, y'all Muslim, I ain't saying cut your friendships off right away. Whether they even if you got attracted to some of these street Muslims and they not receptive to the dawah. You understand? Because when it comes to the way of the Salaf, just for the simple fact that they moving how they moving, they don't care enough about their deen to be accurate when they talking to you. So like right now, you have a lot of Muslims who be in the streets and moving a lot of little ways, and they not truthful in their speech or their actions. And when it comes to Islam, right? They not truthful in that. So what they do is, some Muslims might be having some conversation, and they might sit down and be like, well, you know, the Dajjal used to be in the water. Try to kick some type of hadith, but it don't even fit the scenario that what they talking about. But they just want to sound knowledgeable. Why? Because they want you to believe the lies that they selling you. Heard? So this number one principle, oh, you who believe, be amongst the truthful. So that's why when it comes to a lot of Muslims with me, oh man, I read my Quran, I stand my Quran, I love the Quran. But they don't love to be amongst the truthful. As a matter of fact, some people too truthful. They love the liar. They love the liar. And sometimes they love the liar because they look like the truthful one next to the liar. But then they look like a liar when they next to the truthful one. And that's something that individuals need to check. They need to get in touch with their heart, right? So let me speed this up, and I'm going to have to write a little bit more. So Surah 9, Ayah number 119, commandment from Allah Azza wa Jal. O you who believe, be amongst the truthful. Now, from me, the way I fool with hadiths and tafsirs enough, I can get to the point, alhamdulillah, not all the time, but I'm at the point where I know hadiths that goes with the Quran ayats. So I'm doing this intentionally. I want y'all to understand how to tie Quran and hadiths together with a proper understanding, and you're not just talking, and then you're really putting this into practice. So how did the Rasul teach this, or how did he speak on this to the people? So a hadith, Sahih Bukhari, I made sure I picked one that was in Sahih Bukhari. But it was a hadith I knew. I just went ahead and pulled it up, and while I was at work, I wrote it down. Right? So right here, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, let me lean that back a little, just a pinch, man, because I notice it. So look, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, truthfulness leads to righteousness, right? And righteousness leads to paradise. You understand? Be the company that you keep. And a man keeps on telling the truth until he becomes a truthful person. Like I said, when I broke down being opposite of the disbelievers, you don't want to become a product of your environment in a negative way. So, if you be amongst the truthful, right? Choose your companions wisely. If you be amongst the truthful, then you got a better chance of being in this category. And a man keeps on telling the truth. This is in speech and in actions. They keep telling the truth. They live in the truth until they become a truthful person. This is what leads to Jannah, our ultimate goal. Falsehood leads to al-fujur, right? Wickedness and evil doing. Things that go against the deen. Disobedience to Allah Azza wa Jal. And al-fujur, you will see it's both ways. So I'm doing this. I put the fujur because I don't want nobody to think I'm saying fajr, right? Fajur. And al-fajur leads to the hellfire, right? So the characteristics that we speaking on, these individuals who lying in character. Like, let's say this right here. Let's say I throw this on. I got this on like I got on right now. And let's say I throw my shoes on, right? Run outside on a corner and post up and just start selling dope to cars that's riding up and down the street. But I look like this. Am I a liar? But let's say I whatever I'm selling, other people selling it for $30, and then I say, hey, I got what you looking for $15. Now I'm telling the truth, but Islamically, I'm a liar. That's falsehood. You understand? Because, see, our deeds is what? They gotta be in your heart, right? On your tongue, right? And in your limbs. So that means you gotta be truth in this, on your limbs. It ain't just what you say out your mouth. You understand? Y'all pardon me, man. Y'all know what that means. Time for Tahajjud. Qiyam al-Layl. So, you gotta be truthful in your actions. You understand? Because deeds is tied to the heart, the tongue, and the limbs. So you can be a liar in your actions and appearance. I might be out there trying to look like a Muslim as a disguise for the cops. I look Muslim, but I'm really a criminal. So, like it says, so a person can do that. These type of things lead to the hellfire. And many people keep on lying, living a lie, until they written down with Allah as a liar. So pay attention when Allah Azza wa Jal says, oh, you who believe, be amongst the truthful in speech, in character, in their actions, their ikhlas, their sincerity. That's who you want to be with. Because let me tell you something. The majority of the Muslims that I seen lose their deen or leave Islam or just fall off deen, other Muslims was responsible for it. It's very rare that I see a kafir pull a Muslim off their deen. You understand? It's very rare that I see a kafir pull a Muslim off their deen. Very rare. Now, don't get me wrong, or some who in a gang culture, they feel like they're around something that like in Illinois they'll say in the fold of Islam. So they can include all the things that I always talk about. They're not Muslims, but they're in the fold of Islam. Whether they on some Islamism, I don't have to go through it. I talk about it enough. So they with people who they consider to be in the fold of Islam, and they getting pulled off into the street. But that's still them thinking they're around people that's in the fold of Islam. All right? So follow what Allah Azza wa Jal commands in the Quran. Be around the truthful. If you're around some Muslims and it's clear what they own, if Allah not changing what's in their heart, you're not going to do it either. You're not going to do it either. You know what I'm saying? And I'm going to speak on some characteristics, man, because I want y'all to be able to recognize it, whether it's in you or other people. You understand? Because you have too many Muslims that just be like, hey, I don't care. I ain't pay attention to what they doing. See, because you can't decipher truth from falsehood. You understand? You already under that thing and don't even know it. So now, what we gonna come to is another Quran ayat. Beautiful. Beautiful. We're going to Surah 29. Right? Ayat number 1. Alif Lam Mim. Do people think, right? Do people think they will be left alone? Huh? Because they say we believe? Because they take their Shahada? Do you think you're going to be left alone? Because you took your Shahada? The Shaitan, you think Shaitan not going to bother you? Shaitan going to turn it up a notch. See, Shaitan got the kuffar on autopilot. They not so corrupt, they don't even know that they should be different. You understand? So Shaitan gonna turn it up a notch. Not only is Shaitan not gonna leave you alone, you're gonna be tested. What Allah say? Do the people think they will be left alone because they say we believe, because they take their Shahada, that they won't be tested? That's a question. Do you think that you're not going to be tested now? Because you Muslim? Because you took your Shahada? Do you think life finna be peaches and cream for you now? You better learn your way through this maze, baby. You better learn your way through this maze, because what happens when you fail a test? Huh? When you get tested and you fail, some form of punishment is gonna meet your behind. You know what I'm saying? Straight belt to A. You gonna get introduced. Your A gonna get introduced to that belt. All right. That's what happened when you fail a test. Now, what happened? Most people who fail tests, why is it? Huh? Son, listen to this. Majority of the people fail tests. Why? They don't study. They don't study. You gotta study Islam to pass this thing, man. You can't just sit around and keep on listening to a whole bunch of people who running around and they just yapping. But if the test, they failing all the tests, especially this one right here, they don't even know how to be amongst the truthful. Hey, when it comes to being amongst the truthful, they get like one of these, like how they do little kids in school when they do them like this. A big old F with a circle on it. When it comes to being amongst the truthful, they get a fat F with a circle around it. But they trying to tell somebody something. So it says, so Allah answers that question for you. Indeed, Allah tested those who came before us, who had deen before us. Where they deen at now? Huh? What that let you know? They failed. That's why Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam had to come. Well, Allah sent Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam just to be that last one. If y'all, you know what I'm saying, that last door. If y'all can't make it through this last door, figure it out on your own, baby. So look, you don't make it through this last door, well, it's over with. So look, indeed Allah tested those who had deen before us. But listen why. But look at why. You need to learn, y'all new Muslims, man, new Shahadas, learn how to do tadabbur. These right here, like right now, wallahi, my body getting cold. Man, this what we talking about right here, and it should make you shiver. Man, your body, this shouldn't even feel right in your body listening to this. So, this is how Allah makes it clear. Let's put that line up under there. This is how, so the Allah tested them and us, because this is how Allah makes it clear. This is how Allah makes it known and distinguishes between those who are truthful and those who are liars. Now, let me erase this. Let me erase this. Listen to this. Y'all listen to this. So, why does Allah make it clear? Why does Allah... Put that right there, man. My little incense, man. You know, people, sometimes people be seeing smoke, man, and be wondering what's to it, right? So, why do Allah make it clear? Why do Allah make it known and distinguish between those who are truthful and those who are liars? So you know who you're dealing with. So you know who you're dealing with. See, if you pay attention to what Allah is telling us, Allah making it clear who the Muslims that's on it and who off it. Allah makes it known who the Muslims that's on it and who's off it. There's the distinguishment is so clear You could put two Muslims together, one Muslim that's on it and another Muslim that's off it. If you put them in the same room together, it becomes apparent. Huh? Because what Allah Azza wa Jal say about them in Quran al-Kareem, what they trying to do is fool Allah and the believers. They also trying to fool the other Muslims. So Allah is letting us know that these tests is to make it clear for those who truthful and those who are liars. So you will know, so that you will know what you're around. So you will know who you're dealing with in order to do what? Be amongst the truthful, kid. To be amongst the truthful. And let me put some emphasis on this. In order, now let me tell you something, and this is our problem. One thing about us, in order to be around certain people, you know what we do? We lie to ourselves. Huh? We lie to ourselves. And let me tell you something else. If you lie to yourself, you're a liar. Even if you lie to yourself, you're a liar. And some of us lie to ourselves to keep ourselves around Muslims that Allah Azza wa Jal tell us to stay away from. So now what end up happening? You're going to end up putting yourself in this situation with this hadith. You're going to mess around and fall into some fajur. Huh? You got to understand, man. Because guess what this is? Guess what this is, what we talking about? We being tested. This is a test from Allah. What you gonna be? You gonna be truthful or you gonna be a liar? Huh? Even if you gonna lie to yourself to sit up around some liars talking about it for the purposes of some good, when you're not even gonna speak up on no wrongdoing. Huh? I'm telling you. And what it say? Huh? What does that lead to? That type of falsehood, those type of actions, it leads to the hellfire. And many people keep on lying and living a lie until they written down with Allah Azza wa Jal as a liar. So once you written down as a liar, as a fasik, once it's written down for you as, once you written down as a liar, a fasik, a zalim, you can kiss the baby. You can kiss the baby. Now, what Allah say after that? Do the wrong evildoers think they will escape Allah? Do they really think they're going to escape Allah? I don't care. And like I gotta say, and this is not to you, Sheets, although you did give me that quote. I don't care if you talk to Allah while you brushing your teeth. You could talk to Allah while you brushing your teeth. If you disobey this command right here, you can kiss the baby. You can kiss the baby, Jack. And then what it say? How wrong is their judgment? Huh? They got poor judgment. How wrong is their judgment? How wrong is their way of thinking? Because not only do apparently, obviously, they think they're going to escape Allah. And then you also think you're going to escape Allah by being around them, hanging around them, and sitting up knowing what they into, but you don't care nothing about it. I don't care what they doing. It don't matter what they do. Huh? But you read your Quran, you talk to Allah while you brushing your teeth. But you need to learn how to do what? What's the first thing I put up there? Learn to listen to Allah. Huh? Learn to listen to Allah. Because if you ain't doing this, kiss the baby. Kiss the baby. So now, what we finna do is, we finna wrap it up. And what I'm going to do is, and this is very important, so this is where we mix in what we studying. So like I said, new shahadas, absorb this. Absorb it. And this right here, these are steps that you need to start to take. And you need to start to turn this into your way of life. Because best believe, if you give up some things for Allah Azza wa Jal, Allah Azza wa Jal gonna give you something better. Allah Azza wa Jal gonna replace it with something better, bi-idhni Allah Ta'ala. As long as you are sincere and you doing it for the right reasons, Allah got you. You know what I'm saying? Because what individuals is doing, what they falling into is this. Shaitan is making a wrongdoing fair seeming. You understand? Shaitan making a wrongdoing fair seeming. And then sometimes, man, they'll come and get the hissling and slithering. They get on their little snake stuff, thinking they pulling you into their foolishness, and then you just sitting down saying, this starting to become clear to me. You know what I'm saying? You able to sit back and be like this. Yeah. Allah making it clear to me. Allah making it known to me. You understand? Yeah, the difference between me and you is starting to be distinguished. So listen. What we gonna talk about, and you're gonna be able to see this in us. So what we gonna discuss is the state of the people before Islam came. Alright? Now pay close attention to this. And all of this should lead to, I'm gonna put it up here. Tazkiyah. Put that up there. Tazkiyah. Tazkiyah the nafs. Right? This is something that we don't do as new shahadas. This is something we not talked about. This is something we not taught. This is something that's not discussed in a lot of areas. So I'm going to talk about it with y'all, alhamdulillah. So the state of the people before Islam came, you had two types of kitabis, right? Which is people of the books, right? People of the scriptures. The books that Allah sent down, then they had the authentic versions. The people of the books that Allah sent down, you had two types of these people. One, they clung tenaciously, right? Like they held on to it with their molar teeth. Wasn't no change in their mind. They didn't care what you said. Some of them would fight and kill if you try to change them from what they believed in with them scriptures, right? They clung tenaciously to a scripture that had been altered or abrogated. And you know what I'm going to do while we got a hot second? Because I want people to understand this word clearly. I want people to understand this word clearly. So, when it comes to abrogate, right? It's to repeal or do away with completely a law, a right, or a formal agreement, right? So they either clung tenaciously to a scripture that had been altered by the priests, the monks, whoever was the religious people at that time that was in control of things, imams. They clung to it tenaciously to the parts that had been changed, right? Or if it hadn't been changed, it had been completely abrogated. So now they clinging on to something that's done away with. This was the state of people before Islam. Why we speaking about this? Because for us who was Christians, who right now still can't let that Bible go. We still talk about Christianity better than we talk about Islam. Why? Because we clinging to it tenaciously. We tenaciously clinging to a scripture that has been altered and abrogated. We won't let go of birthdays. We won't let go. And this stuff ain't even from the religion. The Christmas, we won't let go of living that way and trying to do the same thing as a Muslim. Just say whatever we want, interpret it the way we want. You know what I'm saying? Like a Muslim Christian. You understand? This is some of the state of the people before Islam. What we refer to it as Jahiliyyah. They Jahil. Right? So then it says, now that was one group. One group clung tenaciously to a scripture that had been altered, changed, turned into some falsehood, or completely abrogated, completely done away with, doesn't matter no more, doesn't even count. The next group, they adhered to an obsolete religion, part of which was unknown and no longer practiced. So let me say this right here to give y'all a little jewel. We know that Musa was sent to Pharaoh, right? What was their religion? What was Pharaoh and them religion? Because Musa wasn't the first prophet. When Adam and alayhi salam them and certain people, what was their religion? When Noah had to come, Prophet Ibrahim went through some of the same areas as Moses, right? They claim one of his wives was Egyptian. Them people claim, right? Ishmael mother or something like that. I'm talking about them people, right? My point is, what was Pharaoh's and them religion? Okay? I'm mentioning that because right now you got people who think they Egyptologists. They think they Asiatic. They think they practicing some stuff that Pharaoh and them practice, which is obsolete. Stuff is unknown and it's no longer practiced. Not to mention, it's straight shirk. So you have people who was trying to do that. Let me pull up this while we got them on, just to make it clear to the people, to the new people. When you pull up obsolete, no longer produced or used, and it's out of date. Huh? Less developed than formerly, or that's caused to something else though. So it's completely out of date. So you have people who was from African tribalism, because they all over there. People who fell into some Roman, some Greek stuff. Now keep in mind this, but to them this is their scripture. But it done died out. But you still have people trying to cling on to it, where parts of it was unknown. You got people who think that they can go and read what it's talking about on the walls in Egypt. If the Deen of Islam is 14, almost 1,500 years old, right? Well, we still got a little time, but we're gonna round it off to 1,500 years. Imagine how old that stuff was when they was writing on the walls of the pyramid. And you got Egyptians who live in Egypt who don't understand what that stuff is, but you got African Americans and other people thinking that they know what that stuff say on there, and they still trying to practice Egyptology. Asiatic. And then of course some of that stuff is mixed in what? More science. Nation of Islam science. So you got people who they tenacious too. So they adhering to stuff that's obsolete, and part of which of it isn't even known, and the other part it ain't even no longer practiced. So this is how ignorant the people was. Now the next category was, now this when I say two types of people of the book, not necessarily these other categories, right? So then you had the other categories was uneducated people, illiterate, they just really wasn't educated. They was Arabs and non-Arabs. They would worship whatever pleased them and whatever they deemed helpful to them. The stars, a rabbit's foot, right? Dead people, pictures of dead people, right? Statues, animals. Some people worship snakes and stuff, man. Like when we saying people like, because I knew a brother I grew up with, he used to always keep a snake around his neck, right? And he used to feel like having that snake around his neck was a good luck charm. And he used to say that, you know what I'm saying? Because of course he was under that act. You know what I'm saying? And he used to talk about how the snake was a beautiful creature and all this other stuff. How it's one of Allah's beautiful creatures. Not understanding what the hadiths and stuff say about snakes. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, this my good luck charm. And like if he ain't got his snake around his neck, like bad luck was going to happen. Like it was a talisman. Because he was caught up in that foolishness. Shaitan did what? Made that stuff fair seeming to him. He loved snakes. Like if his snake, one of his snake died, it was like a family member died to him. Or if like he put it in front of somebody to touch it and they smacked it or something because it scared him, he'd be ready to fight. I done seen him choke some people over that snake. But you can't tell, he's not Muslim, he's Muslim. He don't practice Islam, he practice Islamism. Crazy about snakes. Better go read some hadiths before you get to talking about what they is. But anyway, so you got these people who was ignorant and they fall into these things. Oh, like I talk about it, I know you looking down over me, and I know you in the hell of it, you my guardian angel, my good luck charm. So you have people who fell into that, who worship rocks, stones. They would make a statue and then say this statue is my God, because they was ignorant. They didn't know no better. So they fell off into that. People who got rabbit's foot. I'm safe because I got me a lucky rabbit's foot and all that. That stuff is shirk. So you had those people, and because basically anything that pleased them, and then of course the ancestors. So I'm speaking on this because this is how the people was before the prophet came. Guess who else like that? Don't this sound like African Americans? Huh? Don't we have all this same ignorance right now today? So when I start to talk about what the Rasul did, what he was teaching how to be the opposite of a believer, with Tazkiyah Nafs, what we have to do and what we doing as we take our new Shahadas and what people is not taught, we need to learn how to purify ourselves from all this filth that we still have in us. Because when we don't purify ourselves of this filth, we bring it to Islam with us. Yeah. We bring it to Islam with us. One thing about Christianity and all that other stuff, that Moor stuff, that Nation of Islam stuff, that Fimball stuff, one thing that it made us professionals at doing was speaking without knowledge. You could pick up the Bible and say anything you want to say. Leave it to your own interpretation. We think we could do the same thing with Islam, but we can't. I bump into so many Muslims who talk about how cold they was at the Bible. You know what I'm saying? And this is not no one person. This is not no shot at anybody who felt like they was cold at the Bible, and I may know you as a person. This isn't to you, so nobody get to calling me. You know, I see somebody on the street and they be like, well, I never said I was the super cold as at the Bible. I ain't talking to you. I'm talking in general. So let me put that out as a PSA before I end up in some rap beef where I'm going back and forth with somebody in their head. You know what I'm saying? Like a rap beef. But anyway, they swear they was the coldest thing smoking since the Bible when they was a youth. But they stayed in trouble. They stayed drunk. They stayed on drugs. They stayed fornicating. They did everything under the sun. That Bible didn't save you. Church didn't save you. You wasn't no good Samaritan Christian pastor person. You was out here being a scum of the earth with everybody else. You was big Vice Lord. You was big GD. You was big BD. Huh? You was big Stone. You was out here just as drunk and as wretched and trifling as everybody else. But you want to talk about how you was cold with the Bible thumping. Now they come to Islam and think they could do the exact same thing with the Quran, but it don't work that way. It don't work that way. And unfortunately, those individuals, even as cold as they think they was, they still can't accept the fact that they was clinging tenaciously to a scripture that had been altered and abrogated. So even while they brag right now about how cold they was with the Bible, and something that I don't even mention and I don't even talk to people, wallahi, I actually went to school and became a real reverend as a Muslim. Right now I'm registered as a clergyman. I got a card with a number and everything on it. But it was just to learn the religion. So even when I listen to them talk and be down trying to bust this out and this and that, guess what it be? Just like it be with the Quran, their own interpretation. Because just like with this here, I went to school for it. I went and learned it. So when they sit there, but I don't talk about it like they do. Oh man, when I was with the Bible, I listen to them talk that stuff, man, I'd be like, Yeah, that's why you got problems Islamically. So, again, who does this remind you of? So when you come to Islam, you got to clean all that up. Forget every last bit of it that you knew. Whether you was a 5%er, whether you was a Moor, Nation of Islam, Super Christian, a Jehovah Witness, Seventh-day Adventist, whatever. An atheist, believed in nothing, a Egyptologist, a real Asiatic, whatever it was. Get it out of you. So, due to this, due to all of these things, the people was in an extreme state of ignorance. This ignorance was caused by ignorant tenets, which the tenets was what they considered to be religious beliefs and philosophies. So their whole tenets that they based all of this off of was ignorant. Ignorance leads to ignorance. So it was caused by ignorant tenets that they mistake for religious knowledge, which was mixed with misguided beliefs that they considered righteous. Don't it sound like us? You can't tell us that a lot of these shirk groups, these made up religions, you can't tell us that this misguided beliefs and ignorant tenets that it based off, you can't tell us it ain't righteousness. Some of us come to the deen and we can't let it go. We can't let it go. We hold on to that stupid stuff tenaciously. So, prominent people who had money, they would try to get a hold of the scholars and the religious people of that time, right? So the prominent people sought to acquire fragments of knowledge from previous prophets. This is before Rasulullah. Okay? This is before Rasulullah. So, however, the authenticity of this knowledge had become ambiguous. Ambiguous. Let's pull that one up. I like to say sometimes with ambiguity, it's basically left up to people's own interpretation. what they say it means. Kind of like what people do with Christianity. and I love, because Allah say in the Quran, see, the Jews say the Christians ain't got nothing to stand on. You can't stand on their religion. It's falsehood, right? And then the Christians say, and this I'm giving y'all a jewel, because you got to pay attention to what Allah says, right? Because they had this mixture, that mixture, but look what Allah says. The Jews say the Christian ain't got nothing to stand on. Their religion is garbage. The Christians say the Jews ain't got nothing to stand on. Their religion is garbage. But they both read the exact same book. What's the problem? It's because it's left to their own interpretation. And the people who came before the Christians, they changed it. They altered it. So they really ain't got, you know what I'm saying? But we ain't gonna go into that. So let's look up so I can wrap it up for y'all, man. So ambiguous. Open to more than one interpretation and possibly having a double meaning. So the knowledge had become, they didn't know how authentic it was in the first place. And then what they did have, it became ambiguous. Just make it up as you go. Kind of like how the Muslims bringing that stuff from Christianity and looking at the Quran, trying to say this is what it means. Although the Quran do say parts of it is ambiguous, but those parts is for the people who got a disease in their heart, so they gon' misinterpret it. So when people do that to me and I see them doing that, you know what I say? It's something going on in their heart. Not me judging them, because Allah Azza wa Jal said it. See, alhamdulillah, I became one of them individuals who learned how to listen to Allah. See, one thing you need to learn in life, the listeners go a whole lot further than the talkers. Become a listener. I ain't gonna say quit talking to Allah, but talking to Allah is not what makes you. It's listening to Allah what makes you. Everybody talks to Allah. Even the kuffar, even if they use the word God, they're talking to Allah. Okay? Even if they think they calling it Jesus, they saying that Allah is Jesus, they're still talking to Allah. They just assigned a partner. Everybody talk to Allah. But how many people listen to Allah? That's what makes you. So as we continue, so being that it was ambiguous, it made it difficult to discern the truth from the falsehood. So they ain't got nothing to stand on either, but they permanent. Right? They did things, but very little of what they did was lawful. And the majority of it was bid'ah or deviation. So, one of the brothers seen where I had made on the first Shahada video about falling into things either going to be some bid'ah or some deviation. So, I got to put this out as a side note for them. Sometimes, what happens to Muslims is they learn a new word and they so anxious to just go out there and start using it. So now, some people love to be like, oh, bid'ah, we don't do bid'ah. Now, and what I'm referring to, so that nobody feel like I'm talking to them personally. Especially if I don't know you or I don't hear none of your conversations. Like I don't live in your house. Like I'm not around you. They act like I'm an angel and know their whole life. How do I even know that about you? So there was a sister who do TikTok. She's an ex-Crip Muslim. And sometimes her videos come across my Instagram feed, right? Because you know how the algorithm is. I watch a lot of Islamic videos. So since she's a Muslima, her videos come across my algorithm. So she's an ex-Crip. And she made this video and she's highly upset. And she said, out of all the Muslims I ever met, and I hate this, and I know this is a reality. She said, out of all the Muslims I ever met, the only Muslims that make me want to go back to the street and go in Crip mode is them daggone, she don't know how to say it, so she said Salafis. Because she just reading it, so she ain't never really heard nobody say it. She said, it's the Salafis. She was like, man, them people make me want to say cuss words and this and that. Because they done learned the word bid'ah. So now everything, oh, that's a bid'ah. You don't know no bid'ah. You always talking bid'ah. We don't do bid'ah. What's in the beginning and all that. But if you sit down and say, This right here, what they doing, is this a bid'ah or is that or not? They can't tell you exactly what a bid'ah is. You understand? They don't know enough about the deen or enough about fiqh to distinguish if this is just a different way that you can do something. This was something that wasn't clear, so this imam did it this way, this imam did it that way, and it's possible, it's permissible to do all of it. So they just go bid'ah crazy. So I had to explain that because you don't want to start going bid'ah crazy. That's why I always put bid'ah or deviation, because some things ain't bid'ah, some of it just deviation. And trust me, by you being a new Muslim and people done learned the new word, so now bid'ah, because everybody gotta be knowledgeable. Everybody gotta be talkers. Nobody wanna be listeners anymore. Bid'ah. We don't do bid'ah. But not understanding the way that they giving dawah like that is a bid'ah. True story. So basically, the majority of what they was doing was some bid'ah or deviation. Don't let nobody bid'ah you crazy. You know what I'm saying? Bid'ah. And they just know what the word mean or introducing something new. How you know this is something new that was in it? How do you know it's bid'ah? Because they don't. So don't let nobody bid'ah you crazy. And trust me, it's going to come. And that's why I don't bid'ah people crazy. Oh man, it's a bid'ah, that's bid'ah. I don't do that. You know what I'm saying? But I can look at some things and I'll be like, they possibly got some bid'ah or some deviation going on. Because a lot of it be more deviation than bid'ah in some cases from what I see. Okay? So they was the majority of what they was doing. So look at that. Very little of what they did was lawful. So the majority of the majority is bid'ah and deviation, and then the rest of it is pretty much haram. But they feeling like they're following a religion. And why did this happen? Because they didn't have what was authentic, and then what they did have was ambiguous. We leaving it up to our own interpretation. But it 90% of it came from something that was altered or abrogated anyway, or was mixed in with people who believed in the ancestors, rabbit foot, stars, sun, moon, animals, dead people. Right? So these actions didn't benefit them. So their deen, because they think they deen it, their deen didn't benefit them religiously, because these actions don't lead to Jannah, and these actions don't get them closer to Allah. So they fell into speculation. They just speculating on what the deen mean. Just like right now, you have Muslims, they pick their, so Allah said, there's a hadith. No one ain't read it. They just repeating something they done heard. It's a hadith. And like us who deal with hadiths, we know a lot of times it don't be a hadith. Sometimes. Sometimes it be something that Imam Malik said. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to go into that right now. We'll get into that as y'all go along. Right? So, they fall into speculation, and they start dealing with philosophy. People who have good, beautiful speech. They sound good. So now they're going to interpret the religion through a philosophical rhetoric. As I say, rhetoric. Philosophical rhetoric. Right? So, what it says is, so their minds was lost with trifle things. So this is basically saying that they losing their mind over trifle things. but they don't realize it because they don't have no deen, but they think they do, which led to, so they ended up becoming confused with a whole bunch of trifling ideas. A whole bunch of ideas that's not gonna work. A bunch of ideas that they can't pull off, that they're going to get other people to pull off. This is some of the description, and this is what their deen became. But why we touching this? Why we mixing this in with the new Shahada? Because this was the state of the people before they came to Islam. Guess who else is the state of? It's the state of us right now. You understand? Just like the Khatib said in a khutbah today. See, a lot of people think Jahiliyyah was the days of ignorance before the Rasul. But no, it's the days of ignorance before some of us became Muslim. But he also threw in why us Muslims right now, because we don't really know how to practice the religion. We are still ignorant. And I know why he's throwing that point in, because he's somebody who was born Muslim. His parents Muslim, his grandparents Muslim, his whole bloodline is Muslim. You know what I'm saying? You gotta trace his bloodline 1,000 years. He from Jordan. All he know is Islam through his bloodline. You know what I'm saying? But he didn't even know how to deen. He an Arab that became a member of the Tablighi Jamaat. So he have some of that Tablighi stuff in there. And you know, that's my man, and I love him, but he got a little bit of that trickery in him, and that's why I was happy to see him, because he still got it. You know, because he seen me in the back laughing, and he know how me and him is, and they know I'm the one who I'm going to buck their system. You understand? He know I'm going to buck their system. So they don't, and I'm going to close on this, they don't pray the right direction. He's a person who's aware that they don't pray the right direction, but he go with it. So we ain't seen each other in a few years. So he see me in the back. He know my routine. He know what go on with me. So while he set up on a minbar, he was like, that the Muslim, we need to learn how to face the Qibla. So when he said we need to learn how to face the Qibla, my whole face, I just did like this. But he could see me, because I'm in the back on the wall. So it was automatic. I wasn't trying to do it. I was just like looking at him like, come on, man. Knock it off. Do you realize what you just said about y'all? He said we need to learn how to face the Qibla. But then he cleaned it up, which really, I ain't going to say cleaned it up. He threw some dirt on it by saying, well, facing the Qibla doesn't mean actually facing the Qibla. It doesn't actually mean facing the direction of the Qibla. So then that's when I just kind of looked at him like, I really wanted to do it like this. Like, now you making it worse than what you already made it. He was like, it just mean about us basically tightening our deen up and being more sincere. Man, knock it off. Knock it off. And then you already know I'm not finna go for that. I know what you're trying to do. I'm not finna come up here. I'm not finna get up in this line with y'all. You already know it. You know what I'm saying? So you can knock that one off, bruh. Soon as y'all get ready to line up, I'm going to do what I always do. Now, like I said, I came and did a couple of things with him a couple of times while he wasn't around, because my motto is, I want to come see how they pray, like the Salaf used to do. Not like I'm not praying attentively, but I want to see how they pray. Let me see who I'm praying with. Let me see how they get down. You know what I'm saying? I done seen what I wanted to see. You feel me? So that's a done deal. So, alhamdulillah, man. So, just to close it, just checking the time. Tazkiyah the nafs. All of this, all that you had in you before Islam, you got to start getting rid of it. You got to start getting rid of it. You know what I'm saying? I don't care if you feel like whatever you in, and like the 3 Shahadas, I know what city y'all in. A couple of y'all, I know what y'all was into. And like I say, I know some of y'all feel like what y'all joined made a man out of you. And I'm not saying it ain't. But is it making you the type of man that Allah and His Messenger will make you? See, a man for this dunya and this society full of kufr is not the same type of man that's fit, that's befitting to carry the message of Allah Azza wa Jal through this deen. They two different types, be. So you got to learn to be what this deen is teaching. And I understand, you know, you may cleaned up a neighborhood or two, but it's not better than this. It's not better than this. Purify the nafs, and we'll go through some of that, what it takes to purify the nafs. But you know what, I'm leaving. I'm not going to call it homework. But y'all know what I want y'all to do. Get on Google. Ask your local people. How do you purify the nafs? What's tazkiyah the nafs? Use the word tazkiyah too. So that you can really get some people, you know, are you tazkiyah, or you learning that? And then come back to me with what they tell you. Google, come back with what Google tell you. You know what I'm saying? So we can peep out your environment a little bit better, and you can start to recognize who you're around, who truthful and who a liar. And then put down this right here. If you bump into somebody who can give you some of the tazkiyah the nafs, and there's a certain amount, there's a list some scholars have. I'm not going to put the number out there, but they have a list of certain things. Now, if you bump into somebody that can tell you from the list, look at number 1 and say, okay, alhamdulillah, how do you put this one into practice? Like, what's your routine? Okay? Let them let you write it down. Let them ask them, can you record it on your phone so you could come back and play it back? Not to play it for me, because they might tell you something that's good. You want to take notes. I want to hold on to this. And then you come running by me and I'll be like, yeah, that's a good routine. That does work. But then if they can't tell you, and then you start to see they not really the truth one, they still involved in all this thing that's contradictory to the deen of Islam, then they're a talker and not a listener. I'm not judging them, but I'm just going by what the deen says. But this is going to make you understand, because sometimes when you start to deal with these individuals and then you grow and then you start being able to put these things into practice, but these are people around you. These are people you're going to be in a masjid with. They might want to start pulling you down. They might start harboring. They might start to have a little larceny in their heart for you, because you might get to the point where you might be like, wait a minute, you know, but hold on, this and that, and then you become a Dalil person. And this is some of the things that it go. And this is what I said I was going to talk about in the beginning, and then I'm done. What happens is, and this is what I've seen a lot of people do, they see a particular Muslim And they be like, okay, this Muslim a little different than the rest of them. But they still mingling with both Muslims. But this Muslim they want to be like. But it's hard to be this one. But it's easy to be like these Muslims because there ain't nothing to them. But these Muslims tear down the Muslim that they want to be like. So now, although they saying this and that, they lying. It's the lies versus the truth. So what end up happening, what I've seen numerous times, this person that they be like, okay, this person is goals. Slowly but surely, as they want to achieve the same goals as that person, they start wanting to be better. So then instead of growing, they turn it into a secret competition with that person. It's a secret competition that they keep losing though. So they think imitating that person is like them. Kind of like the way, for people who know boxing, Adrian Broner imitated Floyd Mayweather so much to the point that he started to say, I'm better than Floyd. I can beat Floyd. And then other people, he imitated Floyd so good, people thought he was just as good as Floyd. But people who had that boxing eye knew that he wasn't. See, AB looked in the mirror and seen Floyd Mayweather. He thought he was Floyd, but he wasn't even a close second. And it's apparent. You understand? So what happens is they'll start to see this, and then you will start to hear them make little certain comments because they're harboring. Oh, well, you know, I don't be paying attention. I don't look like I'm gonna give one example, and then I'm done. And I'm gonna give this example because I spoke on it before. It ain't nothing new. Some Muslims I'm around, and I done been around them maybe because where we at the building, they're praying 2 times. They praying Dhuhr, and then sometimes we still there when Asr came in. So they prayed Asr. Not every time, but a couple of times. So I'm there while they done prayed Dhuhr and Asr. Now, I will say this. It was enough time for me. I prayed Dhuhr before I came around them. And I'm going to be honest, because every time I prayed with this group, every time it was always some issues. I can't think of one time that I prayed with them that it wasn't no issue. And I don't like playing with my prayer. So I make sure I'm prepared. Now we getting ready to leave for Asr, so I didn't pray with them for Asr. And I know people feel like, hey, you should, you're around the brothers. So in my head though, because of the people that's around them, I think that they praying the right way. It ain't even crossing my mind. So I'm going to show you about harboring. So 2 kids get to arguing about wudu in the back. But by this time, like some weeks done passed. I probably done been around them and they done prayed at least 5 times. Right? At least 5, 6 times. I never prayed with them. But each time they invited me to come pray. Even one time, man, where the kids keep asking why you won't pray with us. Now I'm trying to keep it cool and say, I don't pray with y'all. Y'all know I don't pray with y'all. Because there's always some issues every time I pray with y'all. And alhamdulillah I didn't, because guess why? There was some issues. There was some issues. But I'm thinking it ain't going to be none. Let me show you the harboring. So I hear the kids arguing in the back. The 2 who they usually pray with, they not there. So they back there with another brother. So when I hear them arguing about the wudu, because the other one back, he cutting his hair or something. So when I hear them arguing about the wudu, I go back there, but you know, it's a little bit of a distance. So by the time I get to back where they are, they're lining up for the prayer. And I'm talking about they already hit the person leading the prayer done talk beard and everything. So once I seen him talk beer and he going into reciting, I was like, this brother praying the wrong way too? I said, he done been around him too long. You know what I'm saying? Especially with, a person, I'm not going to say they best friends, but, this the best person since sliced bread to him. But, he love to say, man, dude always has some proof he give me to live for this and that. How the heck he do that and he pray the wrong way? But that's neither here nor there. You know what I'm saying? So, I see it, so I'm like, oh, nah, man. So now I'm a little salty. I want to go up and just interrupt the whole thing. I said, no, I'm not going to do that. So now I go back to where dude is cutting hair. I said, they arguing. I go to break up the argument. By the time I get back there, they in the salat. I said, man, they praying the wrong way. He said, oh, yeah, man, I seen that. I was like, what? You seen that? He was like, yeah, man, wallahi, he said, man, it didn't even cross my mind to say anything to him. I said, man, so you seen him do this all the time? He was like, yeah, man, I watch him do it all the time. But see, I wanted to see how truthful he was going to be with me. I wasn't even finna tell him, dude, I seen you in the video praying with them the same way in a parking lot. You know what I'm saying? You done fail that bad. But this is where the harboring come in. So it get brought back up. So when I waited till they got done and I said, because I seen y'all doing it, I gotta tell y'all the truth. Because I seen it. So now I'm obligated. So now when I start to tell them, now the other person done came, now they looking salty because I'm gonna be honest. And they know y'all doing wrong. Why they not telling y'all, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? This is why I don't really fool with them. Now, oh man, you ain't got to say all that. So what one of them say out of their mouth? Harboring. Oh, well, I don't be looking around. I don't be running around looking around to see how people praying. So when they start making comments like that, oh, see, I don't be looking around to see what people doing in the masjid. Especially like with me, I'm sitting in the back so I can see everything in the whole thing. But see, they start to say things that you're not even doing. First and foremost, I didn't go check to see. I done been here while they done prayed like 5 times. But that's that harboring. Even though when I came and said something to you, like, man, so oh man, yeah, man, I done seen them do it. So you done seen it and you ain't saying that. You done seen it more than once. And done prayed with them that way. You know what I'm saying? But it's that harboring. Harboring something in their heart, man. So you got to pay attention, man, once individuals start to harboring, especially when you doing what's right and they doing what's wrong, but now they harboring because it done got brought back up. You the one who doing the wrong thing. What you harboring for? So be mindful of that, man. Y'all be mindful of that. Yeah, y'all ready too? Alright, she's, man. Ain't no sneak dissing, man. Y'all gonna knock that off, man. That sneak dissing. But anyway, assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. My apologies for going so long for anybody who made it this far. But assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Any mistakes I made came from myself and the shaitan. And anything I said that was correct came from Allah Azza wa Jalla Muqtadir.